Welcome back to our channel. We are crypto focused, and this week we are focusing on not only decentralized finance, we're focusing on CeFi, traditional finance, Web3, AI, and everything in between at the side and adjacent. Why? Because we are right here in the middle, on the ground, Money 2020, right Amsterdam, bringing you the most impressive and interesting interviews. We got to sit down with everybody that is actually helping to push money forward, exchanging hands, exchanging accounts from one side of the world to the other side of the world. And that's where David comes. He's literally on the other side of the world. He's coming straight to us from Winnipeg, Canada, through way of Toronto, and he's sitting at the table with us in Amsterdam to discuss Apaylo.
Happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here. So you know what to do. Share this video, like this video, leave a comment, help us keep making this type of content, and we're gonna jump right in. So David, right off the bat, having financial services at the level of you guys are managing it on a global scale, how difficult is it to remain relevant with so much competition?
I mean, ultimately it comes down to the value you bring to the market, right? And we've found a pretty interesting niche in Canada with the Apaylo Finance technology really being a leading payment service provider for the Canadian market for fintechs that want to access the Canadian market. So a lot of the businesses that we support are global in nature, but ultimately see the value in Canada, and some of them have diaspora in Canada that wants to use their services.
Yeah.
And so we're able to offer a reliable and scalable payment solution with kind of core domestic rails that they can accept payments and send payments out to people using our rails, basically.
Now, when it comes to fintech, have you been noticing a change in the way you have to do business because of the integration of different new payment systems and also being able to onboard and offboard crypto as a asset?
Yeah, I mean, we're relatively young, so we're at year 7 right now, and definitely over that relatively brief period, we have seen stablecoins become more and more of the conversation, for sure. Our kind of bread and butter is the Canadian payment rails, e-transfer, also known as Interac, EFTs, which is kind of like SEPA here in Europe, or bill pay option. So that's kind of where the real bread and butter is. But as far as stablecoin and alternative methods of payment and different kind of fintechs, we just adapt and kind of go with the flow. So we see all use cases. We see some that have not even really been adopted yet, but people are working on it and building it out. And that's what I love about fintech, and that's what I love about working with Apaylo. You actually get to have those conversations with people that are really at the bleeding edge. And I came into Apaylo as someone who was very gung-ho about Web3. I have a lot of history in the blockchain communities, and I'm a big fan of art on the chain, for example. I like to buy art from people and support artists on the blockchain. So it kind of was a really good synergy, and it worked out well. And the fact that we're supporting so many crypto companies just makes my job more fun, really. And where we support, sorry, I'll clarify, we do not custody any crypto at all at Apaylo, actually, but we work with around 60 to 70% of the industry in Canada, and we're able to provide basically a reliable on and off ramp solution where you're moving your Canadian dollar to a crypto provider, converting it to crypto, and then once it's on chain, that's your on-chain currency. It's up to you.
Now here's the thing, you said reliable.
Yeah.
And that's the key word. The minute you say reliable, the first question is going to be, how can you promise that? What makes you reliable?
Yeah, I mean, all we can do is have faith in our rails that we have and our bank partnerships that we have, which we have about 6. So we're trying to always be, flexible, and part of why we're able to say, or why I'm so confident when I say reliable, is because we do have redundancies in place, and our executive board is very much knowledgeable of the Canadian environment. So we're always staying ahead of the regulatory environment, understanding, what the regulators are looking for, making sure we're meeting that expectation. And so that is a big part of it, for sure. And it's not easy, and obviously that does create friction points. Like even in the last couple months, there was some new guidance that essentially meant some fintechs that had were just about to get operational were told, oh, you actually can't be operational until this specific deadline is met and this application is met. But it was like new guidance. So these people, they're just in limbo now because the regulators decided, oh, unless you submitted your application by this date, you now have to pause all operations. So it's just those kind of things that happen, and they create friction, and we don't love to see it. But ultimately, you got to adapt. You got to move with the way that the regulators are moving and the industry is moving in the market.
And the way you guys are adapting, and then this is something we've heard at the table for the past 2 days. Yes, regulation is good. We're happy that there's regulation. Exactly. We keep hearing that. It is and it can be good, but it is also placing unnecessary hurdles along the way. So you from Apaylo, how do you say, hey, how are we going to get over these hurdles for ourselves and for our clients?
I mean, the best part about it is that we're all in it together, right? And so ultimately, whether you're a merchant, you're providing the payment rails like we are, or you're an end user in the space and you really want to use crypto or any payment method really to send funds abroad, maybe, for example, everyone's feeling the friction point in different ways, right? And so ultimately, we're all shifting, we're all adapting, we're all trying to align with what the regulators want, right? So how you do that, I mean, obviously some are more flexible than others, I would say, and some just say, oh, we're just going to cut out crypto altogether and stop trying to serve the industry. That's an option. That's not an option that we take. So yeah, it's just a matter of staying ahead of it and empathizing with the different layers of impact that exist, right? And trying to like actually speak to merchants in a way that's like, hey, we feel you, we're dealing with these things too, so we're all kind of in this together, and hopefully we meet somewhere that works, you know?
Now, from your product actual suite, from all the products you're offering, from all the services that you offer, which one stands out? Because you are in a market, and if you told me about 10 years ago, hey, this market is going to grow to where it is today, I would have said no.
Like fintech generally? You're surprised by how much it's grown?
And not only that, it has grown in the service side exponentially. Everybody now has a branch that offers the kind of services that you are offering. Now, from your perspective, from being on the inside and speaking to those outside, hey, what is the actual service that you say ours stands out?
Okay, that's a great question. Generally, we get a lot of interest in the e-transfer solution, basically, and even here with a lot of the European fintechs that are not fully like aware of the Canadian rails and what options there are there. A lot of them do know e-transfers, and I guess they're getting requests from their users like, oh, can you pay me out an e-transfer, like the ones that are in Canada, and they can't because it's not a simple thing to get. So we do offer a scalable e-transfer solution that caps out at the top of the e-transfer scale, which is $25,000 per transaction, and has no limit on the amount of transactions you can do. So it's a very scalable e-transfer solution. So out of all the solutions, and each one kind of has its best fit, so the context matters, but definitely e-transfers is a huge service, and we see a lot of interest in it. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily the most volume in our whole network, but when it comes to like the marketing and what you hear from the industry, like e-transfers is a big one.
That's your standout.
Yeah, that would be the standout.
And since you're here in Europe, at Money 2020, what's the elevator pitch that you're using for those here?
Yeah, I mean, Apaylo Finance Technology is a leading payment service provider in Canada. We offer reliable and scalable payment rails that are crypto-friendly, that work really well with remittances, pay in, pay out for any kind of remittance fintech. We work with iGaming, although in Canada the regulators are getting a lot more strict with the iGaming oversight, and so we do have to keep it to mostly Canadian, or actually exclusively Canadian iGaming that are licensed in Canada. But we are open to that, and we actually launched with iGaming solutions as well. So, I mean, it kind of depends on the merchant you're talking to, but the elevator pitch is we offer reliable, scalable payment rails for the Canadian market, and we're MSB friendly, and we want to help you grow.
And how's the response?
It's been awesome. I mean, in general, either they're not interested in Canada at all, which is fair, and maybe I'll try to pitch them on why they might want to be interested in Canada, because it is a really good launch pad into the America and North America, and really the Americas in general, more broadly. And on the off and on ramp side, when it comes to the crypto, it's really interesting how difficult it actually is to on and off ramp at scale in large volumes, no matter where you are. Like even in some jurisdictions, like we hear in the American side, for example, where it depends on which state you're in, right? And certain states like really can't do that very well, whereas others might be able to support it, and you may be able to find a good small bank that's able to do that for you. But it kind of depends. The context is a big part of it, right?
Interesting. Now, this is a question I ask most people who sit there. What's next? Because if you want to stay relevant right now, if you look around you on every single, let's be honest, on almost every single stand, you'll see the two letters.
Big AI, yeah. I just watched the whole talk about it.
Exactly. And some of them added the word agentic in front of it as if it's, oh my God, that's the word. Everybody, agentic is the new wonderful word.
Right.
Before that, it was stablecoins. Before that, it was KYC. Before that, it was crypto. And the hype is now agentic AI. How do you respond from, Apaylo to say, hey, everybody's moving into this direction. Are we going to jump on the hype bandwagon? Or you say, no, our product is reliable, it's secure as is. Do we stand our ground, or do we say, no, we have to offer something in that area as well?
I was just listening to, I believe it was the CEO of Capital on Tap, forgive me for forgetting her name, but she was speaking exactly to this point, and how she wants to integrate AI, but she wants to do it in a kind of human-centric way. And it is a difficult kind of thing to adopt in like a sustainable way, maybe. So internally, when it comes to Apaylo, and I think when it comes to most financial use cases, yeah, there's the customer service side of it where I don't think it's a great service to actually outsource customer service to agents, but I'm sure there are certain use cases where it can make sense. For us, we're only doing it on a kind of transaction monitoring side and really like the analytical things. And I do think as a business growing, especially in fintech, but really any business, frankly, like if you're going to be oppositional to AI, that's not going to help you, right? Like you're not going to grow in this world as a business at this point without at least acknowledging where you can make improvements with AI, right? So the agentic conversation, I'm not really excited about that. It is what it is. I don't like those agents on YouTube that keep talking to me, and they keep trying to fool us and make us think it's a real human. No, it's not. So I hate that stuff. But in general, I definitely see the use case for AI in certain analytical spaces, and especially on the security piece. Like they'll catch things and flag things that maybe a human would have missed, and they'll be more accurate. So maybe you'll have less false positives, for example, going through AI, especially as it grows and gets more knowledgeable with the data set, right? So AI definitely has its place, and ignoring it would be not the right way to go.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So in short, if you are a business and you are being oppositional, that was a very good word, to AI, you will not be able to grow. So embracing AI has its place. Embracing AI will help you become more efficient. And you said something very interesting. When it comes to security, it catches things that we might miss.
Yeah, and I do think you still need a human in the loop, though. So that's not to say that AI is the solution. I think it's part of the solution, right? And ultimately, you still need that kind of human check on certain things. And humans going to be the one generally filing a report, for example, and anytime you're contacting the regulators, you don't want to be just leaving that to some agent. At least I don't think that's a good idea, but maybe there's some fintechs out there doing that with an agent already. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. But I do think there's use case matters, right?
What's the next thing for Apaylo? What are you guys planning?
Oh,
What's for
that's a great
Q3,
question.
Q4?
Yeah, so Apaylo Finance technology continues to adapt, continues to kind of grow to meet the market and try to be innovative, as innovative as we can be while still, following all the guidance and oversight. So really right now we're exploring some new cross-border options because it's always been a major part of our business that there's a lot of remittance companies that want access to different jurisdictions and different currencies and do it in like a really seamless way. So that's definitely a big one on the radar. That's hopefully around the corner, and when we launch with it, it's going to be much more stablecoin friendly, much more crypto friendly. We did have a cross-border solution in the past that kept running into roadblocks when trying to onboard our merchants. So we're really looking at improving that. So that's probably the big one on the radar, as well as like API webhooks and always kind of adapting with the tech team for sure.
Wow. Yeah. So we truly enjoy sitting with people at the table that tell us, hey, our business is good, our product is good, but we are still working on growing, adapting,
always,
and innovating.
100%.
I love it. I love it. So this is David from Apaylo. Make sure you've watched this video from beginning to the end. Share this video, like this video, leave a comment for them, and I'm certain they will jump in there and answer your comment, because that's why we're here. We're here to put a spotlight on everybody that attended Money 2020, that made this show in the Netherlands a success. We're crypto focused. David, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for sitting down with us, and we will check back in to see exactly how it's going on the Canadian side.
Appreciate it, Emmanuel. It's been amazing.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and we were live right here at Money 2020.